We had a really rough week in the markets last week. We are set to open significantly lower today. There's a lot of fear out there. If you're listening to the news, if you're reading the financial news, if you're looking at what the market's doing, what the market did last week, and all of those things, if you get really caught up in the short term, you could be pretty fearful right now. So what do you do? Well, you have to think about the reasons that what you own and why you own it. So if you don't understand what you own, there's not a better time to start figuring that out and to understand why you own it. If you don't understand why you own it, the fear is going to get you. You're going to get caught up in all the headlines, and you may end up making a big mistake and doing something that you really shouldn't do. Because if you get out right now, you have to be right twice. You have to be right about when you get out, and you have to be right about when you get back in. And stats tell us that if you get out, 30% of people don't get back in. So how are you going to meet your financial goals long term if you are not at least some part in the equity markets? So you have to consider what you own, why you own it. How long did you give your strategy to work? Is it a short-term strategy? If it's a short-term strategy, you're always going to be anxious. You're always going to have something to be anxious about. There's always going to be some news that's going to shake you. If it's a long-term strategy, how long did you give it to work? Well, I would suspect that if you gave it longer than 2 years to work, that you're probably not even down at this point. So, think about whenever you make a cake. If you put all the ingredients together and you're real diligent to follow the instructions just as they're written, and you put the cake in the oven, but something happens and you decide to take it out before the prescribed time, well, you're going to have a mess. You're not going to have a cake. It's not going to be the thing that it was supposed to be if you don't give it time to fully bake and do what it was supposed to do. So the same thing will be true of your portfolio. If you're one of those people that is like, oh, I'll try this strategy, I'll see if this works. Well, that didn't work after 6 months. I'm going to try something else. You're always going to be disappointed. You're always going to be searching for the thing that is going to work for you, but you're never going to find it because you're never really going to give anything time to work. So, think about this for a minute. Because of inflation or the falling stock market, how many of you in the last 3 to 6 months considered not paying your electric bill? How many of you considered not eating? How many of you considered not filling up your gas tank? Maybe you've chosen not to go some places or to try to watch, your gas expenditures or things like that as gas has gone up and up and up. Or maybe you even canceled a trip. But you can't really choose not to totally put gas in your car, especially if you've got a job or you've got to get to the grocery store. You got to, run your kids here or there. You just not a choice that you can make. But, that's not even what the economic data shows. It shows that travel demand right now is super high, even in spite of airline ticket prices being up more than 30%. So you have to really think about what is the worst case gloom and doom scenario. We're not going to stop paying our electricity bills unless things get really bad. We're not going to stop, filling up our cars or eating or anything like that. So you just have to keep it in perspective and not let the news really get to you.